Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you're doing well. Well, it's that time of the year again, and I'm in my spooky, haunted mansion, and I'm not really scared because you're here with me. And I know we're going to have a lot of fun today because we're going to be making that spooky spider necklace that you saw in the intro. And I'm going to be using the beads that came in Didi's Deluxe Bead box for the month of October. And just ignore those creepy characters in the background. They're pretty harmless. Now, if you're not familiar with Didi's Deluxe Bead box, I'll leave a link to the website down below in the description section of this video, along with a coupon code in case you're interested. I'm also going to leave a list of all the materials that I'm going to be using in today's project, along with timestamps in case you want to skip forward to any portion of the video. And don't forget that I always model my necklaces at the end of the video, so stick around for that. I'm probably not going to hang around here though. I'm going to go back to my studio. Hopefully I can get out of here without getting too spooked out. So anyway guys, Mr. Spider on the back wall is telling me that I need to get going with this tutorial. So let's go ahead, turn the camera around and we'll get started. And here we have Didi's Deluxe Bead box for the month of October 2023. The name of this box is Falloween. I got such a kick out of that name. I thought it was such a clever idea. As you can see, it contained both fall themed and Halloween themed beads. It was definitely a very special edition. So if you were one of the lucky ones to get this box, I give you lots of credit because this box was definitely very special. And in case you didn't know guys, this is not a subscription box. It's a limited edition box, so you don't have to commit to it. But you do have to stay on top of whenever they release one because every time they release a box, they sell out pretty quickly. But anyway, I'll go ahead and list the link down below to the website in case you're interested. And the best way to keep track of when they release a box is to follow them on Facebook. They have a Facebook group. I'll link that down below as well. So let's go ahead and select the beads. Here are the beads from the box, and these were part of the Halloween group. We have a beautiful strand of 8mm size glass beads. The color is mottled purple, and then we have some electroplated faceted crystals, and the color is black, but the black doesn't cover the whole bead. It's only on a portion of it. And here we have a beautiful designer strand. They always include a designer strand in each of their boxes, and I love this one with the skulls. It's so cute. I'm going to use the skulls to make a pair of earrings. Let me show you what else we're going to need. Here are some beads from my own stash. I have some seed beads here. These are size 8/0 and these are size 11/0. They're kind of an iris rainbow color. This one here has some bronze beads. I'm actually going to use this one for the strand, and I'm only going to use a few of these for the main part of the necklace. And here I have some steel spacer beads. They're round, but what I like about these is that the holes are big. I think the holes are about 2mm wide. I recommend that you get spacer beads with large holes for this project. And guys, don't ask me where I got these beads because I've had them in my stash for ages. More than likely, I probably got them on Amazon. I know these are Miyuki's, but I'm not sure what kind these are, but they're both round seed beads. And by the way, you don't have to use these colors. You can use black if you want to, or gold. I'll be using some craft wire today, and this wire is 26 gauge, and it's in a gunmetal color. I'm going to be using some beading wire, and this is by Beadalon. It's 49 strand, and it's pretty thin. It's 0.015 of an inch, or 0.38mm thick. I don't recommend that you use anything thicker than that, because it's just not going to work with today's design. You can try, but I don't think it'll work, guys. You need thin wire for this project. But anyway, this wire is a silver color, as you can see. Now, in addition to all these materials, I'm also going to use some jump rings, crimp tubes, crimp tube covers. We're also going to need some head pins and a lobster clasp, but I'll bring those out later on when we get ready to use them. So now that I've gone over the materials, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start by creating some dangles. As you can see, I have my 8mm size beads, and I have some head pins. And these head pins are in a gunmetal color. They're about 2 inches long, and the gauge is pretty thin. We're going to be making some wrap loops, so you can't use thick head pins for that. So let's get started. I'm going to slide the bead onto my head pin, and you want to make sure that the head doesn't slide through that hole. You should always check that. And now using some round nose pliers, I'm going to grab the pin right where the bead is, kink it, switch to this part of the pin, take the tail and wrap it around the nose, flip the pliers around, continue to wrap to the back, and now I'm going to grab that loop with some pliers, and with another set of pliers I'm going to grab the tail and create my wraps. I usually only do 2 wraps, but you can do as many as you want to. And now using my flush cutters, I'm going to cut off the excess. And now I'm going to tuck in that little sharp end. So there's one. And now I'm going to do another 3 the same way, but the 5th one's going to be a little different. So let me speed up the film and I'll do the 3. As you can see, I've completed 4 of them, and now I'm going to do this one, and it's going to be a spider, and I know some of you don't like spiders, so if that's you, then you can just have a simple dangle like these. I personally don't have a problem with spiders. Having said that though, I wouldn't want to pick one up. Whenever I see one in my studio, I always try to get rid of it because I don't want my cats playing with it. But anyway, like I was saying, I don't have a problem with spiders at all. Now what I'm going to show you today is from somebody else's tutorial. The name of her channel is Lan Ann Handmade. And if you haven't seen any of her tutorials, I strongly recommend you go check them out. I'm going to link her channel down below in the description section of this video, and I'll make sure that I link the tutorial for this spider. I'm going to try to do a good job making it, but since I didn't come up with this idea, I may not make it exactly the same. Now to make this spider, I'm going to use the 26 gauge wire, and this piece is about, I would say 20 inches long, something like that. Let me just move these out of the way. And now we need to find the center. It doesn't have to be perfect. The center is about here somewhere. I'm going to create a loop and I'm going to use these pliers. These are actually memory wire finishing pliers, but I like using these because of the size of that barrel. So I'm going to grab it like this and then wrap the wire around that barrel. Let me turn it this way. Let me wrap it around again. And that should be enough. So this is what you should have. Now I'm going to pinch these wires together like this. And I'm going to slide the bead onto the wires, both pieces. Let me fix that loop. And I know this wire is pretty thin, but it'll get stronger once we wrap the wire around it. So now we're going to take both pieces and we're going to bend them upward like this. I'm actually only going to do the one, and I'm going to keep this one off to the side so it's out of the way. So now I need to thread this through and pull it through that loop. You want to make sure you do it without kinking your wire, and that's the challenge. And I'm going to do it again. Let me just put my round nose pliers in there and pull. Now you do want to make sure those wraps are up against each other. So you can just slide them down like that. So now that it's anchored, we're going to create the first leg. As you know, spiders have 8 legs. So now I'm going to eyeball 1/2 inch down and bend it. Just like that. And now I'm going to slide the wire through the loop again. And now I'm going to hold onto that leg and wrap my wire around that loop a couple of times. So that's one. Let me put my pliers in there and pull. So there's my first leg, and we're not done yet. We're going to twist that up later on. Let me move my wraps down. They're kind of messy wraps. Like I said, I'm not good at this. So now let's do another leg. I'm going to measure 1/2 inch again, approximately, like that, so it matches this one. Feed it through. And now hold on to the leg and pull and create a couple of wraps. So that's 1 and 2. And my loop is getting kind of wonky, so let me fix it. So once again, I'm going to bend it at 1/2 inch. Hold on to it with my fingers. Take the tail, feed it through the loop, and wrap the wire around a couple of times. That's 1. And that's twice. So now I have 3 legs. And now let me do another one. I'm bending it at 1/2 inch. Feed the tail through the loop. Hold on to all the legs and create a couple of wraps. So now I have my 4 legs, just like that. I know it looks like a hot mess right now, but don't worry because it'll look nice once we get done. So now I'm going to take this piece and do the same thing. I'm going to wrap it around the bead and anchor it to the loop. Feeding it through the loop and pulling. And I'm going to do it again. And you really only need 2 wraps, you don't need more than that. So now let me measure 1/2 inch out. I want to make sure that it matches the other side. And I'm going to feed the tail through the loop. And now I'm going to wrap it around. And since I flipped my work around, I'm going to have to go this way. So that's 1 wrap. And that's 2 wraps. Once again, I'm going to bend it. Okay, as you can see, I created my 8 legs, and it wasn't easy, and it is a little bit messy, but I kind of like that because it looks like a hairy spider, doesn't it? So anyway, now we're going to twist those legs. And I'm going to use these pliers. These are flat nose pliers. I'm simply going to grab the tip like this and twist. And since this wire is so thin, guys, you have to be careful that you don't over twist because the wire will break. I think that's good enough. So there's one little leg. And now let me grab this one and do the same thing. So now I have 2 legs. And now I'm going to do the rest of them the same way. As you can see, I twisted up all my legs, and now we're going to shape them a little bit. You really don't have to do it, but it's just another option. So I'm just going to bend them up like this. Let me do it by hand. And now I'm going to create a little kink on each one, somewhere in the middle. And I'm going to bend the foot upward. Let me do this one now. It's a bit tricky because they're tiny little legs. So that's what they look like. It's a pretty cute spider, isn't it? Let me do this side. So there's my spider, and I think it's adorable. Now you have 2 choices. You can either trim that off and make a short loop so you can hang it, or you can twist it up and make it look like the spider's hanging off a piece of spider web. It's up to you. I think I'm going to twist it a little bit. Maybe this much. And now I'm going to create a loop. Let me grab it. Snip off the excess and tuck in the little sharp end. You definitely don't want anything sharp sticking out. So there's my imperfect spider, but I guess beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So now we're going to move on to the main part of the necklace. Let me get the beads for that. Here are the beads we're going to be using. I have my seed beads, those are size 11/0. I have my 4mm spacer beads. I have my 6mm faceted crystals, and I have my dangles. I've cut myself a piece of beading wire. This piece is about 30 inches long. So let me show you how we're going to start. We're going to slide on a seed bead, size 11/0, and then a spacer bead, and then one of these crystals. Bring it to the center. So this is what we have. Let me find the center. It doesn't have to be perfect. And now I'm going to slide on one of these dangles. I'm going to slide the spider. So this is what we have. And I'm going to take this end of the beading wire and go through that crystal again, and the spacer bead, and the seed bead. Just like that. And pull it through. And once again, you want to make sure that both pieces are even. So let me bring my tails together. And this is what we have so far. Pretty easy so far. And now I'm going to slide on another seed bead and 6 crystals. So here are my 6 crystals. And now I'm going to load 2 seed beads this time. One spacer bead, and another crystal, and a dangle. So that's what we have. I'm going to take the tail and go back through the crystal and the spacer bead and one of the seed beads. You don't want to go through both, just the one. And pull. So that's what we have so far. So now I'm going to load just 1 seed bead and 6 crystals again. So there are my 6 crystals again. As you can see, I have 3 seed beads in the middle. That's what you want. So this time I'm going to load 2 seed beads, 1 spacer bead, and a crystal, and a dangle. So once again, I'm going to go through the crystal, the spacer bead, and that first seed bead, the one that's right up against the spacer bead, and pull. I'm going to load another seed bead, just 1 this time, because you want to have those 3 like that. I hope that makes sense. And now I'm going to load 3 crystals. One seed bead and a spacer bead. And now let me put a clip here. We'll come back to this end later on. I hope you can see how it's shaping up. Because of the nature of the beading wire, it's going to form those arches, and that's what you want. So now to speed things up, I'm going to do the exact same thing on this side, and I'll meet you back. Okay, I'm back. As you can see, I finished the other side. I think it looks adorable. Now it's not quite a spider web, but it's pretty webby looking. So now we're going to finish it off. And to finish it off is pretty easy. I'm going to use these size 8/0 seed beads. And I'm thinking about putting another 8mm size bead on the end. I haven't really decided yet. But here are 2 of them. Let me see what it looks like. What do you think, guys? Do you think it looks good? I think it does. I'm going to go with it. Let me dump these seed beads out to make it easier. Let me go ahead and put one on this side. One of these 8mm beads. Because now I need to measure it. Let's see. It measures about 6 inches approximately. And I think I want my necklace to be 18 inches, something like that. So that means that I need 6 inches worth of seed beads on each end. And I really don't like picking up seed beads with such thin beading wire. So what I do is I use these rods. These are called magic rods. I carry these in my Etsy store. And I use these primarily to create bead patterns. They're made out of steel, and so they hold all kinds of beads, all kinds of shapes and sizes, including bead caps. And then what I do is I bring these stoppers in so the beads are up against each other and I can get accurate measurements. So now what I'm going to do is load 6 inches worth of beads on this rod. And then what I'll do is offload them from the rod. And I'll show you how to do that in a few moments. Okay, I think I have 6 inches worth. Let me measure it. Actually, I don't. I only have 5 1/4. So I need more beads. And by the way, it doesn't have to be exact. Let's take a look. Let me load one more. And that's good enough. I'm going to place a clip here so I don't lose these beads. So now I'm going to offload from the rod to the beading wire. And to do that, I'm going to grab a few like this with my index finger and my thumb and feed the wire through them. Just like that, all at once. It's pretty easy, guys. It's much better than picking up one at a time with thin beading wire. Let me just move these beads out of the way. As you can see, I've loaded the beads. Now, one thing I should have done is loaded 2 rods instead of 1. Silly me. Because then what I do is I hold the rods together like this, up against each other. And that way I don't have to count seed beads. But that's okay, because what I can do is take this strand like this, extend it out like this. And then once I load the second rod, I'll just hold it up against the strand to make sure it's the same length. So now to speed things up, I'm going to do the same thing for the other side off camera, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I loaded my seed beads on. I also finished off this end, as you can see. I crimped it off and attached a clamshell cover. So now I'm going to do the same thing to this side. Here's a crimp tube, and here's a clamshell cover. And by the way, I'm using bead-along crimp tubes, and this is size number 2. Now this clamshell cover is a little bit different than other ones you might have seen on my tutorials, because this one just has the one loop, but let me show you. As you can see, that piece of metal is pretty thick, which means that it's not going to slide through the gap of a jump ring, and that's why I like using these. Let me open it up a little bit. And now we're going to attach the crimp tube. Actually, I need to attach this first. I'm going to slide the beading wire through the back and then the crimp tube. There it is inside that clamshell. And now I need to squash it. So I'm going to grab it with my pliers. These are chain nose pliers. And I'm simply going to squeeze it. Let me turn it around and do it this way. You don't want to squash it too much because you don't want to break that crimp tube. But these crimp tubes are pretty good quality and I've never had one crack on me. So now I'm going to tug it to make sure that it's on there really well, and it is. I'm going to snip off the excess. Let me grab it again with my pliers and close it up. And now I need to kink this wire backward just a little bit. I'm going to grab it with my round nose pliers and create a loop. You want to make sure you close it nicely, just like that. So there it is. This is a very secure method, guys. I know some of you are worried about squashing that crimp tube, but you really shouldn't be. Plus this necklace isn't very heavy. So now I'm going to attach a clasp. Here's a lobster clasp and 2 jump rings. They're 6 millimeters in size. Let me open up this one. Attach the clasp. And now I need to figure out how my spider sits, because I want to make sure that I attach it on the correct side. This is the back of the spider, so I'm going to attach it to this side. Close up my jump ring. Let me open up this one now. Attach it to this side and close it up. So there's my Halloween spider necklace. I really like it. I hope you like it as well. Now what I recommend you do, guys, when you're not wearing this, make sure you lay it flat somewhere, because I think with time, the beading wire may lose its form a little bit. So I try not to store it on a necklace display or anything that makes it hang down. So now we're going to make a quick pair of earrings. Let me get the materials for that. Here are the materials for the earrings. As you can see, I've already made one. And I know these aren't spiders, and it doesn't really match the necklace. But you know what, guys? It's Halloween, so who cares? You can have a spider on the necklace and skulls for earrings. Plus, I'm using the same 8mm bead, so I guess it does match a little bit. But anyway, as you can see, I also have a crystal, and I have a bead cap from the designer strand, and 2 size 8/0 seed beads. And here I have a flat head pin and a piece of 20 gauge wire, and they're both in a gunmetal color. So let's go ahead and assemble it. I'm going to slide on the skull first, and then the bead cap. It looks like he has a little hat, doesn't he? And now the crystal. And I'm going to do a wrap loop for this piece. So I'm going to kink my wire, grab this part of the wire, wrap the tail around the nose, flip the pliers around, continue to wrap to the back. And now I'm going to grab the loop with my skinny pliers, grab the tail, and do some wraps. And I don't have a lot of wire here, but I can still do it. I'm just going to do 2 wraps. That's normally what I do. And now I'm going to cut off the excess. I guess that didn't come off very well, did it? There it goes. And now let me tuck in that little sharp end. And now let's work on the top part of the earring. I'm going to do a simple loop for this one. So I'm going to grab the wire about 1/2 inch down, maybe a little bit less, kink it, grab it with my round nose pliers, make sure it's flush, loop it, and now I'm going to load a seed bead and the 8mm bead and the other seed bead. I'm going to grab the wire right where the bead is, line up the bottom loop, kink it, cut off the excess, grab the end, and loop it. And I do want to line up my loops, so I'm going to grab this loop with another set of pliers and line up my loops. Pretty easy. Let me go ahead and open up this loop now. Slide the earring into it. Close up the loop. Open up this one. Slide the ear wire hook into it and close it up. So there's a nice pair of Halloween earrings. Let me get the necklace now, and I'll arrange everything on my mat. So here's my spooky necklace and earring set. I think it's adorable. I hope you like it as well, and I hope you can make your own. I think what I might do is make another pair of earrings with spiders hanging from the bottom. I think that would look really cute, but I do love these skulls. So anyway, guys, as always, I'd like to go ahead and put the necklace on and show you what it looks like. So let me do that, and I'll see you in a few moments. Well, I'm back in my studio, as you can see, and I have my cat on my lap. Let me see if I can show him to you. There he is. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. And you know, one thing I did want to mention, if you don't like to make spiders out of wire, because it is kind of difficult, it was very difficult for me, you can actually just go out and buy a charm. They sell spider charms all over the place. I've seen them on Etsy, I've seen them on Amazon, and it doesn't have to be a spider, it can be a bat or something else that's Halloween related. Because I know some of you don't like spiders, and like I said, you can just have a dangle just like the other 4 dangles that are on this necklace. So anyway, guys, I hope I've inspired you. I hope you can make your own necklaces. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Happy Halloween, and I'll see you next time. Bye.